Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the more we penetrate the scriptures, the more we see these things come alive. The African connection is also unique. Like you mentioned, the Ethiopian eunuch, right? We know that the Ethiopian church is the oldest church. We know that. We know one of the oldest Bibles, and by Bible I mean the inclusion of the New Testament, is the Ethiopian Bible. We know that there's a work called the Kebra Negast, the glory of the kings, which began as Ethiopian oral tradition, but finally comes into writing and it's called the Kebra Negast, which details the account of the earliest history and genesis of Ethiopians or the people of Cush, with a heavy emphasis on Makeda, Queen Makeda, or as the Bible calls her, the Queen of Sheba, and Solomon. Except in the Kebra Negast, they mention something that the Bible maybe hints towards. The Bible says King Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba everything that she asked for. I'm going to say it again. The Bible says he gave to the Queen of Sheba everything that she asked for without telling you exactly what she asked for. Some women are so fond of the knowledge, wisdom of men that they may ask for your hand in marriage. They may ask to be the mother of your child. In the Ethiopian tradition, they say that Menelik is a contraction of the term Melech, from the king. So they teach in Ethiopian tradition that the Queen of Sheba, who they call Queen Makeda, had a son with King Solomon called Menelik. Before then, the Ethiopian aristocracy was female. After their tradition records that she had a son with Solomon, it was now patriarchal men. As the tradition continues, they say that King Solomon sent emissaries and even Levites with them, to the extent that there are some people that believe that the Ark of the Covenant was sent with the Queen of Sheba because Solomon, through the spirit of prophecy, knew what would happen with Nebuchadnezzar coming to ransack the temple. And had that Ark of the Covenant been there, that would have definitely been stolen. And to show you that no heathen king captured the Ark of the Covenant, notice the Bible lists item by item everything that King Nebuchadnezzar took. But the Ark of the Covenant is not on that register. It's not on that list, which means our tradition says that the good King Josiah hid it, and he hid it under a labyrinth deep underneath the temple grounds, which is highly probable. But I just want the community to know the Ethiopians, the Falasha, they have their own tradition as well as to where that is. And there's actually an Ethiopian church in Ethiopia right now that stands guard 24/7 of a building they deem sacred for one reason and one reason only, because they say it houses the Ark of the Covenant.
Let's talk about the Merneptah Stele. And you recently posted that on your page that you just received that in the mail. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Oh, we definitely can talk about that. So I actually have a copy, a replica, a miniature replica of the Merneptah Stele actually here with me, with the original Medu inscriptions on it. Now, the original Merneptah Stele, which actually references the name Israel, this would have been at least 12 feet tall. And it's made of black granite, which is what this is actually made of, black granite as well. This is a very, very expensive buy. This was shipped to me directly from Cairo, from the Cairo Museum. The Cairo Museum has several replicas of many ancient artifacts. The Merneptah Stele is one of them. The Merneptah Stele is so famous because on lines 25 through 28, on one of those lines records the name Israel. There's a pharaoh by the name of Merneptah, which stands for the beloved of the god Ptah. That name comes into English as Merneptah. He records that on his Asiatic campaign, when he comes into Canaan, he says that after he defeats the Libyans, who the first 24 lines of the stela deal with, on lines 25 through 27, right here, he records that he entered Canaan and he encountered Israel and he destroyed them and left them without seed. But there's a problem, because the Merneptah Stele is about the 13th century BCE, which is the 1200s. We know that King David is historical because we find inscriptions bearing his name. Having said that, King David is not on the world scene for another 200 years, yet Merneptah writes on his stela that he decimates the seed of Israel, leaves them with no seed, virtually kills every single one of us. So what's some of the things we're learning? The first thing we learn is that just because something is recorded in stone in Egypt doesn't make it the truth. The second thing we learn is that look no further for evidence of a historical Israel than Egypt itself, because our name is recorded on the Merneptah Stele. This is the oldest mention of the name of Israel outside of the Bible and the world.
Man, that's powerful. For you to even have that in your possession, you know, I could just only imagine how you feel or you felt when it hit the mailbox.
Man,
when you put it in your hands.
Listen, I got something else coming.